Today is World Day for Drowning Prevention, and we just want to speak
Absolutely.
to an expert. We know that the figures may not be alarming, but lives are being lost every year. We've seen the global figures, about a quarter of a million people, quite a chunk of it children. For starters, can you just give us a picture of what it is like, the issue of drownings, before we now go into the details of different scenarios?
Okay, thank you so much for having me. My name is Tayo Orekoya from Crawford Swimming World. Um, Drowning is preventable. That is the number one thing that we always want to preach all the time. It is very preventable. And the number right now globally, over 236,000 people die annually due to drowning. That number might not jump out at you until you think about it, that it is 26 persons every 1 hour. 26 going off the surface of the earth every 1 hour. And this number does not even account for deaths that were due to flood or drowning that were due to, when you're on a boat in a water body and things like that. That is not even part of the two. And then also, some of these deaths are not even recorded, especially, coming from a place like Nigeria.
Yes.
Some of these deaths are not recorded. So you find that 26 people die every hour. It is very alarming. And to think that it is actually preventable, that is why WHO has chosen today, 25th of July, to shed more light on the fact that that there are preventive measures that help to prevent, when you follow those measures, they help to reduce the number of deaths that we see. So this year, the theme for this year is looking at anyone can drown, but
And
no one
nobody
should.
should.
That nobody should. So when those things are put in place, most people will not drown. And drowning happen in a quick second. A sleep scene is a very silent killer. It happens even before the person realizes that they are drowning. So that's what today is about.
Please, can I ask a question? How can we prevent drowning?
Very good, Olivia. That is the most important thing about today. That is the number one question that everybody needs to continue to ask, because we find ourselves, the entire part of Earth is covered majority by water. We will always find our way around water, in water all the time. So number one thing, especially for children, even when a child knows how to swim, I'll give you an example. If you go to very good swimming pools, you will have a red flag or a white flag always flying. If a white flag is up, it means that there's a lifeguard on duty, you can swim. If a red flag is flying, it means that there is no lifeguard on duty, don't go into the water, even if you are a professional swimmer. In those type of swimming pools, they will not allow you go into the pool. So supervision of swimmers, especially children, is a number one. The first preventive measure is supervision. If there is someone that has been placed, maybe a parent, so take for example, if 5 children are going swimming, 5 children from different parents, one of their parents should be there to supervise what they're doing. Either a lifeguard or a parent should watch out for them. So supervision is the number one thing that helps prevent drowning. For people going on boats, ferries, and also jet skis and all, life vests it's inevitable. Even if you are a very good swimmer, it is a safety equipment that you have to wear. You must wear it. It's like riding a power bike or a super bike without a helmet. Even though you are very good, you will still wear a helmet. That is how life jackets are for, going on any water body at all, irrespective of the class of the person. In fact, the government has a lot of parts to play where they can sanction people they find on boats that are not wearing life vests. You know, either at the docks when they are going on the boat, on the ferry, or when they are coming off the ferry. And then supervision happening even while they are at sea as well. Then also drowning happens a lot with adults, especially men, actually, when there has been a lot of alcohol drinking at the swimming pool. When people drink alcohol, they tend to have this sense of bragado that they are really good, this masculinity, I am good. And then even in our swimming classes, we find more women and children coming to learn to swim than most men. So, and then if you look at the statistics in Nigeria, more men drown than women and children in Nigeria. So as much as possible, we try to ensure that alcohol is done away with at swimming pools. So it helps to reduce. And in fact, a parent that is drinking alcohol and is watching the children will be so distracted that will not know when the child gets, into the water. And then another thing, Olivia, is learning how to swim. If you don't know how to swim, you should not be going to the deep end of a swimming pool. In fact, we have found cases of children almost drowning at the shallow end of a swimming pool. Because once your leg gets off the floor, before you get yourself to stand, the child, even for an adult, we've seen adults also who have drank a lot of water because they could not get a grip of their feet in the shallow end. So as much as possible, learning how to swim, when you now know how to swim, you now will be able to float on water. Because there's a misconception for most people. They say, oh, I want to learn how to float so that I will learn how to swim. You need to know how to swim first before you can float. Because otherwise, we can find people that can say, I know how to float, but I don't know how to swim. That is an anomaly. It doesn't happen. So you learn to swim first, then you'll be able to float. And then also, there's this body system. We call it body system, where if Olivia and her friend are going swimming, let's say 20 children are going swimming, then you pair the children up. Olivia, you are body with Jeanette, or James, you are body with Tayo. So both of you, if you don't find Tayo, raise an alarm. You must watch out for Tayo. You must watch out for Olivia. So that body system helps in raising alarm very quickly, especially when children are around the swimming pool. Then lastly, the seventh thing I'll mention is the barrier around swimming pool covers. Most of the children that drown, always come as a result of when you are least expecting it to happen. The children just wander off and then they fall into the swimming pool. No matter how well you train a little child of 3 or 2 or 4, they cannot stay long in the water by themselves, no matter how well you have trained them to swim. So supervision and also creating that barricade around swimming pools. Swimming pools should be covered. If it is not covered, you have a perimeter fence around the swimming pool and locked so that no child can access the swimming pool except he's under supervision. So those are the ways that we prevent drowning.
We understand that quite a lot of drownings don't have anything to do with actual swimming pools, actual large bodies of water like the sea.
Good. Now, we found situations like this. I mean, it's happened quite a lot where children go into bathtub. In fact, a little tub where you just create a little swimming pool.
Basin, or even a basin of water. Yeah.
Even a basin of water. Now, supervision. That is all that matters. If we continue to, what you don't know, you cannot prevent. But when advocacy continue to go out there, where a parent recognizes that this water that you are looking at, when it gets into the lungs, there's something called dry land drowning that even happens post when you have saved the person out of the water. that is even more dangerous. So when you know the dangers, then the parents or the supervisors will be more conscious. And then something notable, if you take most of the floaters we call armbands, the
Yes.
donuts, kickboard, pool boy, all of those things, when you check underneath, it's written there, this is not a life-saving device. It's written there boldly that it is not a life-saving device, that supervision is the number one thing. Continue to let people be aware that children love water. Children love it. It's man. They love power bikes. They love fast cars. However, speed without control is nothing. So that is the same thing. Children love water. Children love to swim, but without control, it can lead to drowning.
Olivia?
Should children under the age of 3 be allowed to learn how to swim?
Absolutely, absolutely. So when a child comes to swimming classes, the first thing the child will learn to do is how to blow bubbles. So when your head goes into the water, you blow bubbles. You make balloon face. You prevent water from entering into your mouth and your nose. When you make the balloon bubble, the balloon face, so you make something like this, and then you blow out of the water. So you learn how to blow bubbles. Then it is at that age, then they start learning how to kick, either for the freestyle, especially for the freestyle kicking. So they start kicking for the freestyle. They hold the kickboard. The coach will help them, and then they practice, because children learn, especially at that age, they learn in a Montessori fashion. You show them, then they're able to do it. So if you don't, even for being under the shower, if you don't teach a child to be able to blow out, he will suck in the water into his nose or into his mouth. So that is one of the reasons why you must train these children. And in fact, when I was doing a study recently, that the size of the brain of a child grows many times more at that age than by the time you are 9 or 10, the increase in the brain size is not significantly more than it is already is at that point in time.
Because a lot of people believe that it's too late for me. I know when I learned, I was quite old when I learned how to swim. Olivia, can you swim?
Not really.
Okay, so work in progress. So just letting adults know that they can only save a child if they too can move in water. They can.
Oh, absolutely. Who learns to swim quicker, adults or children?
Children, I guess.
Aha. This is what people think. And we have disproved this many times at the swimming pool. Mommy and her 6-year-old come to learn to swim. Mommy starts swimming almost in less than 2 days.
Wow.
The reason is this: the cognitive ability. So the normalizer is 8 years old. From 8 years and above, most people know how to obey instructions. They are able to coordinate the movement of their hand and their legs well from that age and above. So if you're talking about a little child of 6, 5, 4, what you are doing is water confidence. They are trying to be confident in water, kick their legs and all. But from day number 1, the dad or the mom will start gliding, start kicking, start swimming, start covering distance, start learning how to breathe in the water. So in my opinion, from 8, we've had students as old as 72, 75, and they did excellently well, excellently well. So the fear that adults think, am I too old to learn to swim? It's totally, there is no truth to it. It's only the coach. If the coach is good, if the coach can explain to you and you see the image in your head and then you play out the image in the water, then you will swim. So for most adults, in fact, to save someone from drowning, most of the time, you don't even need to know how to swim. You can be the one creating the alert, the alarm. Please, this person is drowning. You can be the one watching out for whoever is going to the deep end. You can have a life buoy. There's a round thing called a life buoy. You can throw it into the water. It's a floater. The person grabs onto it. You don't have to dive into the pool. In fact, going in to go and save someone that is drowning is very dangerous, even for the person going in to save the person, because the person will grab you and pull you under the water and put his head outside of the water. Even though it's your child, even though it's your husband, that's what the person will do. Whoever is drowning, the logic is not working anymore. So there is a way that lifeguards save people that are drowning. If you are not a properly trained lifeguard, you are better off throwing the person a life buoy, a floater that the person can hold on to, and then they drag the person to the shallow end or towards the wall. So,
all right, before we wind up, let's talk about rescue care. You not a few minutes ago talked about dry land drowning.
yes.
What can anyone do if it's not too late? If one is taken out of the body of water, be it a tub, be it a pool, be it the sea or the river, what can we do
Yes.
to, save lives before professional help gets there?
Yes. So the first thing, well, we all know that you need to know how to perform CPR. However, not many people know how to perform the CPR. However, for drowning, before you do CPR, there is something you need to do first. Because take, for example, the person has water in their lungs, and then you are doing CPR. The person is still drowning while they're out of the water. Yeah. So you lie the person on their side and then cross the arms and cross the legs. Before you know it, water starts coming out of the person's mouth. Yeah.
Cross the leg in
when
what way? The arms in what way?
so when you bring the person out of the water now, instead of leaving the head facing backwards like this,
Yes.
facing upwards, yeah, the person's face sideways,
Yes.
and then arms crossed over.
Okay.
Yes, legs crossed over. So that way is a resuscitative stance that you take. Yeah. So once that has been done, if water comes out, if there's no water, it is at that point you are checking for the pulse. If the person has a pulse, if the person has a pulse, then all is still very good. And then also you either you're checking for pulse here and you put your hand close to the nose or your face close to the nose to know whether the person is still breathing. And usually when the person is not breathing, you turn the person over and you raise the chin up. Usually, most people take their tongue and press it to the top of their mouth. That is what helps them to stop air from going in or water from going in. So it gets stuck there. So you can't even breathe. Many of the times, when you raise up the head, your tongue can't stay up, so it comes down. When it comes down, many of the times you find the person just gasp for air almost immediately. Yeah. So that can almost immediately just save the person without CPR. It is when these two things have been done first. When it has been done, then you can now check for, no air is coming out. It means that the heart has stopped. CPR is used to help to either jumpstart the heart or continue to help the heart to continue to pump. It's a course on its own to take to learn how to give CPR.
Yes.
But first of all, if you don't know CPR at all, the first thing, help the person. First of all, check for pulse. Pulse will mean you are checking his wrist to see whether there's that movement still happening, or around here, whether the movement is still happening, or you can check for his nose whether the person is breathing. If the person is breathing, then you tilt the head upwards to check whether the tongue will come down. So there's still a number of checks, but what is even more important is the speed at which you get the person out. Because there is a certain number of minutes that if the person is in the water for, the person can still be brain dead. So, but after the person is brought out of water and the person has woken up, the person must still go to the hospital because there's water in the lungs. The hospital still has to work on the person. Yes.
All right, Olivia, one last question before we wind up.
How well do you prepare your students before they are good to go?
to be
Oh, okay, good.
waterborne.
Toby, yes. So when we are learning to swim, most people that have gone to swimming classes, they know these rudiments. The rudiments like this, yes. When you get to a swimming pool, the first thing you do is identify where is the deep end, where is the shallow end. Yes. When you know the shallow end, and I know that maybe I can swim for 10 meters. I can swim for 5 meters without coming up for air. I will stick to the shallow end and swim across the shallow end and not swim to the deep end. If I know this is a swimming pool that I can swim this number of meters, I will swim from the deep end to the shallow end. I will not swim from shallow to deep, because as I'm going to the deep, if I get tired, I am where I cannot put my leg on the floor. But if I'm swimming from deep to shallow, I would have been where I can put my leg on the floor. As simple as this rule is, it has saved many people. You find out that if someone is swimming from the deep end, when they get to the shallow end, as they are tired, their legs, they quickly put their legs on the floor. So once you now learn how to swim, once you can breathe while swimming, then you will know how prepared you are yourself.
All right. Coach, we have a few minutes left. Just in a minute, tell us about your school before, or your academy, before we now ask for your final message on this day.
Okay. So Crawford Swimming World, we've been operating in Lagos for well over 20 years now. We have classes in Lekki Phase 1. We also have in Yaba. And our classes, we teach adults and children. We teach children from 3 years old. And our class days are usually Saturdays and Sundays. That is usually the time that people have to come to the swimming pool and learn to swim. Sunday, we have a booking app where most of our students, when they want to come for classes, they go on the app and then they book the class time that they want to come for. And one of the things that also help prevent drowning is the class size. Our students, we only teach 2 swimmers. Only one coach is teaching only 2 swimmers for the 1 hour. So he's always having his eyes is on the students always. So especially for little children, before you know it, they want to jump into the pool, he's always watchful. So in the Yaba venue, we have about 3 coaches there. In the Lekki venue, 3 coaches. So meaning we teach about 6 swimmers every 1 hour. We're there from 9 a.m. We're there till 4 p.m. So as we open more branches, then we would make it known. We're on Instagram. We're very much on Instagram, and our website is www.csw.com.ng. That's csw.com.ng. And on Instagram, we're known as Crawford Swimming.
Are you happy with the uptake of swimming in the country?
For swimming in Nigeria, it's developing. It's just coming up. So we have quite a number of, we have very few competitions that are notable that happen in Nigeria. We need more age grade swimming competitions. We need advocacy in terms of CSR programs where companies can decide that, okay, I want to train 100 children. Okay, Crawford Swimming World, go out there, get 100 children and train them, and this is funding for it and things like that. So those are the ways that you can develop swimming in Nigeria.
All right, finally, Olivia, you asked the last question.
Can you tell us about your message?
Okay, thank you, Olivia. Keywords, I would say. Drowning is a silent killer. It is sudden and it is silent, but it is very preventable. Very, very preventable. So thank you so much for having me on this program.
Thank you so much, Coach Tayo
You're welcome.
Orekoya of the Crawford Swimming World. Thank you so much for your time. And as you
It's
said,
a pleasure.
Drowning is preventable. Let's reduce the number of drownings, if not eradicate. Let's learn how to be waterborne. Let's learn all the safety measures and abide by them and be more watchful, especially of children around us. Thank you so much, Coach, for joining us, and have a beautiful day.
It's a pleasure.
Right.
And you too. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Olivia. Bye.
Thank you, sir.